Welcome to the second episode of our series on affordable housing. In our previous video, we laid the groundwork by defining affordable housing and discussing its importance. Today, we'll delve deeper into the understanding the housing crisis. We will examine the various factors that have led to the current state of affairs and explore the multifaceted nature of the crisis. To begin with, it's essential to recognize that the housing crisis is not a new phenomenon. It has been building over several decades due to a combination of economic, social, and policy-related factors. One of the primary drivers for the economic housing crisis is a significant rise in property prices. Over the past few decades, property prices have soared in many parts of the world, mainly in urban areas. This increase has outpaced the growth of the household incomes, making it increasingly difficult for low to middle income families to afford homes. A key factor contributing to the rise in property prices is the basic principle of supply and demand. As the population grows and more people move to urban areas in search of better job opportunities and amenities, the demand for housing increases. However, the supply of housing has not kept pace with this demand. Various factors such as restrictive zoning laws, high construction costs, and limited availability of land have constrained the supply of new housing units. Restrictive zoning laws play a significant role in limiting the supply of housing. Zoning laws dictate how land can be often used, restricting the construction of high-density housing in certain areas. While these laws are intended to preserve the character of neighborhoods to ensure orderly development, they can also limit the ability to build new housing in areas where they're needed the most. This can lead to a situation where the supply of housing is insufficient to meet demand, driving up prices. High construction costs are another major factor contributing to the housing crisis. The cost of building new homes has increased significantly due to the rising prices for materials, labor, and land. Additionally, regulatory requirements and building codes, while essential for ensuring quality and safety, can add to the overall cost of construction. These higher costs are often passed on to homebuyers and renters, making housing less affordable. The availability of land is also a critical issue. In many urban areas, there is a limited space for new development. The scarcity of land drives up prices, making it more expensive to build new housing. In some cases, land that could be used for housing is instead allocated for other uses, such as commercial development for green space. Now, these are important that can further constrain the supply of the land available for housing. On the demand side, demographic changes have also contributed to the housing crisis. One notable trend is the increase in single-person households. As more people choose to live alone, the demand housing increases significantly. Additionally, there is a growing preference for urban living, mainly among young professionals and retirees. This shift in preferences has led to the increased demand for housing in cities, where supply is often already limited. Economic factors such as stagnant wages and rising living costs have exacerbated the housing crisis. While property prices have risen significantly, wages for many workers have not kept pace. This has led to a situation where even those who stable jobs struggle to afford housing. Additionally, the cost of living, including expenses such as healthcare, education, and transportation, has increased, leaving families with less disposable income to spend time on housing. The 2008 financial crisis had a profound impact on the housing market and is a key event in understanding the current housing crisis. The collapse of housing bubble led to widespread foreclosures and a significant reduction in the availability of credit. Many families lost their homes and the construction of new housing slowed dramatically. Although the housing market has recovered in many areas, the effects of the crisis are still felt today, with many families continuing to face financial difficulties. The housing crisis has a significant impact and social impact implications. Lack to affordable housing leads to increased homelessness and overcrowding. Families who cannot afford stable housing may be forced to move frequently, disrupting their lives and making it difficult to maintain employment or ensure their children receive a consistent education. Overcrowded living conditions can also lead to health problems and diminished quality of life. Homelessness is one of the most visible and severe consequences of a housing crisis. On any given night, hundreds of thousands of people in the United States are homeless. Many more are living in temporary or substandard housing. The lack of stable housing makes it difficult for individuals to find and keep jobs, access healthcare, and maintain social connections, perpetuating a cycle of poverty and instability. On the social implications, the housing crisis has significant economic impacts. When families spend too much on housing, they have less to spend on other goods and services, which can slow economic growth. Additionally, businesses may struggle to attract and retain employees if there's a lack of affordable housing nearby. This can lead to a reduced productivity and competitiveness. Addressing the housing crisis requires a multifaceted approach. On the policy side, governments can implement measures to increase the supply of affordable housing. This can include revising zoning laws to allow for higher density development, providing financial incentives for builders and developers, and investing in public housing projects. Additionally, policies that support rent control and tenant protections can help ensure that existing housing remains affordable, low, and middle class families. Innovative solutions are also essential in addressing the housing crisis. Modular and fabricated housing are, for example, one of the faster and often cheaper construction alternatives to traditional building methods. These approaches can help increase the supply of housing more quickly and at lower cost. Tiny homes and co-op housing models, which promote community living and shared resources, are another example of innovative housing solutions that can make up housing more affordable. Community involvement is crucial to addressing the housing crisis. When residents, local organizations, and governments work together, they can create more effective and sustainable housing solutions. This can include participatory planning processes, community land trusts, and other forms of cooperative housing models that give residents more control over their living conditions. By fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility, communities can create resilient and inclusive neighborhoods. In our next video, we will explore the role of government policies addressing the housing crisis. We will look at historical housing policies and their long-term effects, as well as current policies aimed at increasing the supply of affordable housing and support of low-income renters and homeowners. We will also discuss the challenges and criticisms of these policies with why sometimes they fail to meet their objectives. So to summarize, the housing crisis is a complex issue driven by a combination of economic, social, and policy-related factors. Rising property prices, stagnant wages, increasing living costs have made it difficult for low to middle income families to afford housing. Restrictive zoning laws, high construction costs, and limited availability to land have constrained the supply of new housing, while demographic changes and economic factors have increased demand. The housing crisis has significant economic and social implications, leading to increased homelessness, overcrowding, and financial stress for families. Addressing the crisis requires a multifaceted approach, including government policies, innovative solutions, and community involvement. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the housing crisis. Now be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Together we can work towards a future where everyone has access to safe, affordable housing. See you next video.